In the rugged hills of southern Italy, where the wind whispers ancient prayers through forests of oak and stone, a man once walked alone, barefoot, blazing with a holy fire. His name was William of Vercelli, a pilgrim, a monk, a founder, and a saint whose life was marked by fierce devotion and untamed grace. He was not born a ruler, nor called by comfort. From the silence of hermit caves to the founding of sacred brotherhoods, William's journey was one of sacrifice and vision. He did not build empires, but he built a mountain sanctuary where heaven touched the earth and the poor found rest. This is the story of Saint William, the abbot of Montevergine, whose life burned with divine purpose. A man of miracles, of mercy, and of unwavering trust in God. Come now and follow the footsteps of the wild monk of the mountains. Chapter 1. The Pilgrim's Fire. William was born in the quiet city of Vercelli, in the north of Italy, around the year 1085. Orphaned as a child, he inherited not only sorrow, but a strange and burning desire to belong to God alone. While other boys chased games or studied the sword, William dreamt of deserts, prayers, and distant mountains. By the age of 14, he had made a solemn vow. He would walk, barefoot, across all of Christendom to reach the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. No escort, no money, just his staff, his silence, and the fire of a promise. He set off like a spark in the dark, crossing valleys and rivers, braving snow, hunger, and wild beasts. Strangers mocked him. Thieves beat him, yet none of it slowed his pace. He slept under trees, fasted for days, and sang psalms to the stars. But before he reached the Holy Land, something changed. While passing through the south of Italy, he heard a whisper, not of wind, but of grace. It was not in Jerusalem that his path would end, but on a lonely mountain no one had ever called holy before. He turned back from the sea, choosing not to chase the relics of Christ, but to live his life, alone, poor, and burning with love. William withdrew into the hills near Benevento. There, he lived in a cave, clothed in animal skins, eating roots and herbs, and praying day and night. Birds nested near him. Wolves came and sat at his side. The forest, once wild, became his cloister. People began to find him. First came the curious, seeking to mock the mad hermit. Then came the broken, seeking healing and hope. Finally came the faithful, seeking to follow. William welcomed none with charm or ease. He was stern, silent, severe, but always holy. Miracles began to blossom around him like spring after a cruel winter. A blind man touched his cloak and saw. A sick child rested by his feet and was healed. A woman tormented by darkness found peace in his prayers. But William never claimed these wonders. He pointed only upward, saying, "It is God alone. I am but dust beneath his feet." And still the fire grew. Soon the solitude could no longer contain the calling. A handful of men asked to live as he lived, to pray, to fast, to burn with the same heavenly longing. William taught them not with books, but by silence, labor, and example. No one owned anything. All gave everything. Thus began the seed of something greater than William ever sought to build. A new brotherhood, a living mountain of faith, and at its heart, one barefoot pilgrim who had turned from Jerusalem to find the kingdom rising beneath his very feet. Chapter 2. The Mountain Brotherhood. High in the mountains of Campania, where the clouds clung to the cliffs and the wind sang through ancient trees, William and his followers carved a life from stone and silence. What began as a shelter for a few became a sanctuary for many. The hermit's fire had become a beacon. They called the place Montevergine, the mountain of a virgin. William built no grand cathedral. He laid no golden bricks. Instead, he built hearts, hearts that learned to beat with heaven's rhythm. The rule was simple, but demanding: poverty, prayer, and purity. No man kept anything for himself. All rose before the sun, worked with their hands, fasted until evening, and spent their nights in praise. At first, there were only 12, then dozens, then hundreds. Peasants and nobles alike came to live the monastic fire. William gave them no comfort but the cross, no reward but God. He taught them to sleep on bare boards, to eat little, and to seek joy not in pleasure, but in sacrifice. And yet, joy overflowed. The monks of Montevergine were known not for sorrow, but for radiance. Their songs echoed across the valleys. Pilgrims began to climb the mountain not for rest, but for rebirth. Many were healed by the prayers of the brothers. Others were freed from demons. The blind saw, the lame walked, the lost believed. Still, William remained the same. He wore a coarse tunic, patched and weathered. He refused titles, honors, or recognition. He worked beside his brothers, often in silence, his face aglow with something not of this world. But not all rejoiced at his fame. Some churchmen, jealous or suspicious, accused him of pride. Others feared his influence. One bishop even summoned him, demanding an explanation for his way of life. William stood before him like a mountain, calm, unshaken. "I seek no throne," he said, "only the cave of Bethlehem and the cross of Calvary." The bishop, moved by his words and holiness, gave him his blessing, and later confessed he had seen a light in William's eyes that did not belong to men. Yet not even his enemies could deny the fruits of his mission. Montevergine grew, not in riches but in grace. Other monasteries rose, following the same spirit. The Order of Montevergine was born, not by decree, but by the breath of the Spirit. William became not just a father to monks, but to the poor. He opened the monastery to widows and orphans. He taught the brothers to see Christ in every beggar and stranger. His mountain was no fortress. It was a fountain of mercy. And as the sun set behind the peaks each evening, William would stand alone beneath the stars, eyes lifted, heart open, whispering, "Not to me, O Lord, not to me, but to your name be all glory." The mountain was no longer wild. It had become holy. Chapter 3, The Trial of Fire. Though peace had blossomed on the mountain, the path of the saints is never without thorns. For William, the greatest trials were not from the outside, but from within his own house. As Montevergine grew, so did ambition in the hearts of some. A few brothers, weary of hardship and envious of William's quiet authority, began to murmur in the shadows. They wanted recognition, wealth, influence. They spoke of building larger churches, of seeking favor from powerful lords. William remained silent, but the silence was not weakness. It was prayer, for strength, for wisdom, for forgiveness. The murmurs turned to rebellion. A group of monks challenged William, accusing him of tyranny and extremism. They demanded he soften the rule, relax the fasting, ease the discipline. "Why must we suffer?" they asked. "Hasn't God already seen our devotion?" William listened. Then he stood, weathered and gentle, but firm as stone. "I did not call you here," he said. "God did. If you seek another road, I will not stop you. But I will not change the cross into a crown of gold." Many left. The monastery, once full, felt hollow. But William did not grieve as a man who loses power. He grieved as a father who watches his sons wander into the night. And yet the fire did not die. God sent him new brothers, young, humble, burning with the same longing for holiness. The trials had purified the community like gold and flame. Montevergine shone brighter, its roots deeper, its spirit stronger. In those years, William also became a counselor to kings. Roger II, the Norman king of Sicily, had heard of the monk of Montevergine and invited him to court. William, dusty and barefoot, entered the palace like a prophet. While lords dressed in silk, he wore his patched habit. When offered gold, he gave it to the poor. When asked for blessing, he gave wisdom. To the king, he spoke boldly. "Rule justly. Protect the weak. Do not forget that your crown is a weight, not a prize." The king was moved. Though surrounded by flatterers, he saw in William a truth none could buy. Their friendship grew, not one of equals, but of reverence. William never bowed to royalty. He bowed only before God. It was during this time that many miracles followed him. A child drowned in a river was raised by William's prayer. A man paralyzed for years stood up at the sound of his voice. Even animals seemed to obey him. Wolves left the forests when he crossed. Birds gathered at his feet as if drawn to the peace he carried. And yet, William never sought glory. He returned again and again to the mountain, to his cave, to silence. His heart remained anchored not in wonders, but in worship. In his final years, his body grew thin, his steps slow, but his spirit was a burning sun. He often told his brothers, "Do not cling to me. Cling to Christ, for I go where the light never sets." One evening, as the bells of Montevergine rang their final call, William lay upon the stone floor of the chapel, arms stretched in the shape of the cross. Surrounded by his sons, he smiled, and without pain, without fear, he whispered his last word, "Peace." And like a flame returning to the fire, he was gone. But Montevergine still stood, and the fire still burned. Thank you for joining us on this sacred journey through the life of Saint William of Montevergine, hermit, founder, and father of fire. May his example of humility, faith, and unshakable devotion inspire your path, wherever it may lead. If his story touched your heart, we invite you to subscribe, like, and share this audio with others who seek light in the silence. Stay with us for more stories of saints, faith, and the wonders of heaven. Until next time, walk with peace and walk with God.